Welcome to this YouTube class. And in a few minutes, there's something I want to talk about, and that is the plant histology. Histology is the study of tissue. We have looked at the animal histology, the animal tissue, where we talked about the different types of tissues that are found in animal, the epithelial tissue, the connective tissue, the muscular tissue, and the nervous tissue. And we've taken time to discuss and dissect all these types of tissue. So in the next few minutes, I just want to point out one or two things on plant tissue because the way animals have tissue, plants also have their tissue. So we have what we call the meristematic and the permanent tissues when it comes to plants. Tissues in plants is divided into two broad categories. And the first one is called the meristematic tissue, and the second one is called the permanent tissue. When we talk about the meristematic tissue, we are talking about the a group of tissue that contains cells that are actively dividing. Cells that are actively dividing. The cell division, is continuous. So within this region in plants where cells are actively dividing, those kind of cells, collectively are called the meristematic tissue. So that is one thing you should use, to know the meristematic tissue. They contain cells that are actively dividing. And basically, we have two major types of the meristem. We have the apical meristem, and we have the lateral meristem. The apical means that these are meristem found at the tip of the shoot and at the tip of the root. So this root is growing downwards because we have at the tip meristematic tissue or meristematic cells that are in active division. So as the cell division occurs, then these roots are extending, and extending happens to the top of the shoot, the tip of the shoot. So the tip of the shoot and the tip of the root are equipped with this kind of tissue. Then apart from that again, we have within the side of the plant, that is the lateral means side. So within the side of the plant, we also have this kind of tissue. And while the apical meristem helps in the elongation, the lengthening of the plant, and this, helps in this is called the primary growth. When a plant elongates, grows a length, then the other part, which is the lateral meristem, helps in the expansion of the girth or the width, girth. That's the width of the plant. So, and that's what we call the secondary growth in plants. So, there are two major growth in plants. The primary growth. So, what powers the primary growth is the apical meristem. Then, what powers the secondary growth is the lateral meristem. Then, of course, we also have the one they call the intercalary meristem, but I don't want to go into that. So, basically, we have the apical and the lateral meristem. So, apart from this meristem or the meristematic tissue, then another kind of tissue is also called the permanent tissue. And this is a drawing of a plant. With this drawing now, you will discover that this is the leaf, then of course this is the stem, and this is the root. So from this leaf, we can actually carve out three different types of tissue. This is called the dermal tissue, D for dermal. Then here is G for ground or the fundamental tissue. Then this is a vascular tissue. So the same thing applies here. So this is the dermal, this is the ground G, and this is the vascular tissue. So under permanent tissue, we have three different categories of tissues again, which are found in plants. And we're going to look at them one after the other. The first one is called the dermal tissue. And the dermal tissue consists of the epidermis. The epidermis. And when we talk about the epidermis, we're talking about the outermost part of the plant. Some people call it the skin of the plant. The outermost layer of the plant is what they call the epidermis. This epidermis lines or covers every part of the plant. The leaves, the stem, and the roots, they're all covered by this epidermis. And in leaves, or yes, in the leaves, the epidermis, also contains what is called a stomata. And this stomata contains opening that helps to regulate gaseous exchange between the plant and the external environment. However, the stomata is also surrounded by a group of cells known as the guard cell. So this guard cell, they actually regulates the opening and the closing of the stomata. So that is about the dermal tissue. And it is also important we know that for plants that undergo secondary growth, when it gets to that level, plants that undergo secondary growth, by the time they begin to undergo the secondary growth, the epidermis transforms into another kind of layer that is called the peridermis, the peridermis. And not also forget that the epidermis is also covered by a waterproof cuticle that also helps to reduce the evaporation of water from the leaf of the plant so that the plant does not wilt or shrink. Then that's about the dermal tissue. Then another kind of tissue again, apart from the dermal tissue, is the one that is called the vascular tissue. The vascular tissue. When we talk about the vascular tissue, we talk about these tissues that help in the transport system of the plant.